It's D-Day for the vice presidential elections in India. It's Jagdeep Dhankhar versus Margaret Alva in a bitter political battle. Voting will begin today at 10 a.m. and will end at 5 p.m. The ruling party, NDA, that emerged victorious in the recently held presidential polls as well, is looking at yet another big win. Dhankar is expected to get two-thirds of the votes. In case of the opposition candidate, Margaret Alva, TMC remains adamant and will break ranks by boycotting the VP poll. The final result will be announced today at 7 p.m. Alright, now we're joined by my colleague Akash, who is live from Margaret Alva's residence. Akash, a big blow for the opposition there with the TMC deciding to abstain. Also, I want to say that YSR, CP and BJD are going to be backing the NDA, which means that's a tally of 52 votes right there. But more importantly, the fact that the opposition continues to lose ground when it comes to these very crucial elections.
Right, and Shilpa, let me mention that it is more of a symbolic fight for Margaret Alva because, we all know that NDA candidate has numbers with him, and as far as the fight is concerned, because this is the beauty of democracy, even when you know that you are not going to win, you are fighting the election, you are a very part of this process. At this point in time, we are learning that out of 788 votes, expected are that more than 500 votes will be of NDA, and as far as the opposition candidate is concerned, so she has got at least 17 to 18 parties with her. But then also she is not going to win. Yes, it is a kind of formality because it's the due process. The election commission will be carrying out this particular process, but we are expecting that the NDA candidate would be winning. By 7 p.m. we'll be getting the results and we'll get to know as to how many votes Mr. Dhankar has got. And while it is about Margaret Alva, who is also the former governor of Rajasthan, she has dedicated her entire life in public services. She is a candidate, opposition candidate, but as of now it is the formality. And also, given the fact that NDA has got numbers in the parliament, it is expected that Dhankar would be winning. But by 7 p.m. we'll be getting the final result. Shilpa.
Akash, also tell me, what are the parties that have backed Dhankar and also the parties backing Alva, especially those that will be breaking ranks by cross-voting?
Right. So in the presidential election, we saw how cross-voting happened, and this time it is very much interesting because this time the Electoral College, it is only of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Total 788 votes, as I mentioned earlier. And Aam Aadmi Party has clarified that they are going to support Mrs. Alva. And on the other hand, TMC is abstaining. They are not going to vote. And it was initially expected that TMC would be, giving support to Mrs. Alva. But after the declaration of NDA candidate, it was very much expected that now they'll be going with NDA candidate just because Mr. Dhankar was also the governor of West Bengal. But at this point in time, while Aam Aadmi Party and parties like JMM are supporting Alva, it is yet, I should say a loose chance that she'll be winning because only 17 to 18 parties are supporting Alva, while on the other hand, we have 20 to 21 parties, these parties are supporting Mr. Dhankar. So candidature is very much strong, and as far as the ruling party is concerned, we know that they have got the numbers, and that's the reason why we are mentioning it again and again, that this is just a formality and also a beauty of democracy because this is a token fight now, and we are expecting that NDA candidate would be winning. But again, the opposition candidate is a strong candidate. She has dedicated her life into public services, and also she was a cabinet minister, she was a governor, she was a part of the ruling party. She held several posts. She held in fact several posts in Congress. But as far as this current election is concerned, we're expecting that by 7 p.m. we'll get the final picture as to who is going to be the vice president of India, next vice president of India in fact.
All right, thank you, Akash, but do stay with us while we're also joined by our colleague Arun Dhanta. Arun, 2 points. Let's talk about TMC breaking ranks by abstaining from the elections, the second largest party in the opposition. But many expected that Mamata Banerjee, would actually want Dhankar as the vice president, because she's been embroiled in a battle with him ever since he became the governor of West Bengal. Also, it was alleged that there was a Darjeeling pact between Himanta Biswa Sarma and her.
Well, see, as of now, the information that we have is that we had seen the relationship between Mamata Banerjee and Jagdeep Dhankhar was not well because, he was somebody who was calling Mamata Banerjee on various issues. And secondly, what TMC has been saying that they were not consulted before the name of Margaret Alva was decided by the opposition parties. So in this regard, TMC is saying that they are breaking ranks with the opposition parties and they will walk away, they will abstain from the voting in vice presidential election. But as far as the number game is concerned, that is very much set behind the BJP, because in this election we know only MPs and MPs of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, unlike presidential election. So the number game is very much with the BJP. They have their own Lok Sabha MPs around 303 and then 91 Rajya Sabha MPs. So out of 780 a total strength of both houses, you need around 395 votes to win, and BJP very easily has around 450 votes, so there will not be any issue. But the point here is that why BJP has, given name of Jagdeep Dhankhar. That is something which is the larger point here, because BJP wants to, take advantage of Jagdeep Dhankhar. He's somebody who comes from a Jat community, and elections are due in Rajasthan, Haryana, and Haryana consists of 25% of Jat community. Rajasthan also has around 12% of Jat community, Uttar Pradesh. So these are the states where BJP is expecting to reap benefit from this decision, as it happened in case of Draupadi Murmu, because that was the biggest decision. We have a huge population of tribal community in close to 8 to 10 states. So the strategy with which BJP is proceeding at this moment is something which covers the entire country. They have, recently sent 4 nominated MPs from the south. They had their national executive in south, and you have Draupadi Murmu covering the entire 10 to 15 states with tribal population, and then you have Jagdeep Dhankhar, holding the clout on Jat community. And also importantly, he comes from the Kisan community, and that's something which both JP Nadda and the Prime Minister Modi, spoke about him, that he's a Kisan Putra, he's a farmer's son. We had seen dissent amongst the farmers with the government on those bills, which later on were taken back by the government, but still government feels that there is some amount of anger amongst the farmers. So this will help them to get back that confidence, because larger chunk of farmers, came from the Jat community. So there is a larger strategy with these decisions of Bharatiya Janata Party, and it is going to be a easy walk for Bharatiya Janata Party's candidate Jagdeep Dhankhar.
Do stay with us, Arun, because we're also joined by Nikhil Lakhwani, who is live from the Parliament. Very good morning to you, Nikhil. The voting is expected to start at 10 a.m. today. Now, can you please take us through the voting process of the vice presidential elect, because both houses will be voting. Who is expected to abstain also, importantly?
Well, Shilpa, as you have rightly mentioned, at about 10 a.m., the voting for the vice presidential election will start, and it is going to conclude at about 5 p.m. So by 7 p.m., we are expecting that the results will be out, and the country will get its new vice president, for the state. And also, what we do know is that on 11th of August, the oath-taking ceremony is going to take place for the newly elected vice presidential candidate. And also because on 10th of August, that means in a few days from now, after 4 days, the tenure of current Vice President, Mr. Venkaiah Naidu, it is going to conclude, it is going to end. So on 11th, the oath-taking ceremony is going to take place. And unlike the vice presidential election system, this time in the vice presidential election, only the members of the parliament, only they are eligible to cast